Hi, my name is Reverend Carole Kiamah, and these are Thoughts of a Shaken Pastor Season 3. In this season, we're dealing about issues that make people walk out of faith. And it was stemmed from the fact that so many people have recently been deconstructing. They were once very sold out to the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, and for whatever reason, they chose to walk away. And so we've been asking ourselves, what are some of these situations that would make people walk away? And this faith, is it able to carry you not just through the mountains, but also through the valleys? And today I want to welcome my dear friend Joe as he shares his own journey of going through a very difficult season, of going through public shame, and how God helped him to walk back and to keep the faith.
My name is I'm MC Wakili. That's how most people know me. I'm married. I'm a father of 3. And I'm born again. Christ is the Lord. I wear many hats. So I'm a lawyer. Then I'm also an MC. I do a lot of weddings and I do a lot of corporate events.
Okay, so let me ask you, MC Wakili. Can I call you MC Wakili? How do you manage doing both law, which is a very serious profession, and being an MC?
So most people actually ask me, how do you, these two are different worlds. Like, how do you manage? On one part is supposed to be so serious, the other one is supposed to be goofy, having fun. I'm like, but ni God to yani too. As in, I think these are gifts that God just gave me. It's like a switch. When I go to a wedding, I just switch, you know. But for me, my inspiration is if I can stand before a judge, I can stand before people and talk. So for me, I don't see it as a big challenge. I actually find that being in court helps me even manage people. I gave my life to Christ when I was in class 7 or 8 there. Still go to a PCA. So, and then along the way, my mom gave her life to Christ. We were very young then. So she moved. Tulitembezwa makanisa. In search of the right church. So during that period, I think looking for those churches, we got saved. Some. And then, so when I joined high school, mimi niliingia kama niko CU. The whole of high school, I was a leader all through. From Form 1 all the way mpaka Form 4. When I was living in Form 4, I was the vice chairperson of CU. When I was leaving. I think mimi niliachana na Yesu kidogo in campus. Most people hapo unajua unakutana na maisha, especially sasa unajua, then I was in a boys school. So unakuja unaona na huku kuna warembo na nini. So I think that part I had difficulty, but the Lord didn't leave me. He was still there with me. From then to now, tumeshikilia Yesu, tumetembea na Yesu all that period, and I can't regret that decision of giving my life to Christ. Through that journey, I've working with Christ, we've done so many things. We've done crusades in my church, because after I recommitted my life to Christ in college, I joined the Deliverance Church Pangani. That was back then, I think 2008 thereabout. Again, I joined the leadership ministry, praise and worship. Hivyo nikakuwa youth leader. So through that, we did a lot of things. We visited schools, ministering, you know. We did a lot of crusades where I used to stay in Pangani, you know. So that has been my journey.
So tell me about Valerie.
Valerie Adhiambo. We met with Valerie when I was a leader at the Deliverance Church. She was new. I was a youth leader. So this lady, someone came to me and told me, we have a new member who was joined the youth in our church. And you need to assign him a group, because the youths then, we had different groups depending on where you like home cells. So when she came to me, I was busy that day. I remember there were so many things. And so I told her, you come to me next Sunday, because Leo, there's a lot I'm doing. I will tell you which group. Come Sunday, mimi nani? Nilikuwa nimesahau. So, mimi nikasema kuja group yangu. Ikakuwa hivyo. So that day I think we were meeting, so she came. So she introduced herself. So through that we became very good friends. Like, I realized that there's something with this lady. So we became very good friends. Very, very good friends. But I loved her smile a lot, and her eyes were always glowing, man. So we continued with my wife Valerie since that 2008. Then at some point I went back to school. I had to go back to campus. I finished school, graduated, and then my wife also went back to campus to do counseling psychology. So took a joint premarital program because now we are starting to prepare for our marriage. We had done we were in preparation of doing the first visit to my wife's place. Life ilikuwa imetunyorosha sana with my wife. Like things were not going so well for me and my work. I had to leave my work. Things were hard. It's only her she had a job. I didn't. So things were a bit tough for us. I wouldn't pay my rent, you know. So we had actually decided to move in together, and we were actually staying together. And then I remember it was the last paper that I had done for Kenya School of Law. So I like, and the thing is tough, you know. And so my wife was there. My girlfriend then was there, always in those situations just to comfort me. And she's like, "Maze, you've done it, you know." There's a cafe in town called Pronto. So when you are there, my wife tells me, "Yeah, by there I have other news." I'm like, okay, we are expectant. Yeah, remember I am a praise and worship leader in my church. We are both born again, eh? And then my girlfriend tells me, "Are we expectant?" I was shocked. I think I went mom for a while, and she was like, "Are you okay?" Like, of course it's shocking. Maybe okay, so what do we do? I'm like, to be honest, I don't know. So it was really a very trying period. In that moment, there's something I remembered. When we were leaving Deliverance, just before I left Deliverance Church, there's a lady from the congregation who came to me and told me, Jenga, because they used to call me Jenga then. Akaniambia, Jenga, kuna kitu nataka nikuambie, but don't come alone. Come with the leader of the praise and worship then. I will not name him because he's known. So she put us aside. And then she told us, now, I had a vision. And in that vision, I saw you, the two of you. You had been raised very high. And you guys were in the clouds, eh? Then you fell. You were falling and you couldn't hold on anything. You kept falling down. And then I woke up. So she told us, whatever that dream meant, I don't know. You guys pray about it. At that moment, that vision came back. And my take of it was that I believe God was giving me and probably that leader then signals that some things were not okay. You guys need to put your house in order. Well, I don't know about him. I know about me. God was telling me you need to put your house in order. But then I think I just brushed it off. But at that moment, that vision came back. And I realized that God had spoken. Had I spent more time with him, he would have told me what I needed to do. And I didn't. I was ignorant. I ignored. I became, So I realized at that moment, I must live with the consequences. I decided no. We decided no. Then we had Pastor Sach. So we decided we're going to tell Pastor Sach. So I called Pastor Sach on the phone. I was there with my wife. And I told him, I need to meet you. He was shocked. He was very shocked. But I still remember how he handled it with a lot of love. And he like, oh, okay. Congratulations. That is good. But it's sin, eh? Like he told us just point blank, eh? Whatever has happened, it is wrong. It should not have happened. But children are a blessing. So, have you told anyone else? No, you're the first person we are telling. Yeah, okay, so. But you understand eventually Pastor will have to come here, but we saw it easier to approach you than him. So could you please do that for us? So please do that for us. Akasema, that's okay. I'll do that for you. I'll talk to Pasi. I'll tell him. But just understand we are here. We'll work with you. But we'll handle it as a church because you are a leader. Akatu counsel pia akatuambia, do not get rid of the child. Keep the child. But just understand we'll work with you. And during that period, I remember 2 Corinthians, I think 12:9, that my grace is always sufficient. Even in your weakness, it is made perfect. And so in that point where there was a lot of, our mind is conflicted. I just knew that even in the midst of this, God is still there. He hasn't left us. And in my journey in Christianity, I've always known that God is there. Mimi naweza nikaenda, lakini yeye haezi niacha. He's still there, and he was still with us. And so we talked, and Pastor Tony, of course, he welcomed us well, of course, and told us, of course, children are a blessing from God. But of course, he was very categorical about the fact that it's a sin. It should not have happened. You should not be having premarital sex. But now that it happened, we have to live with the consequences, and it has to be handled by the church. Because I am a leader, I have to step down from ministry. Number one, with immediate effect, I can't minister. So I told him that is okay, I understand. It really broke my heart. Because you see, for me, one of the things why I minister, apart from the fact that for me I just love God and I want to be there with him, is the fact that I feel like it brings me near to God. Like, it keeps me in the line. I don't feel like I drift. So there's always constant fear in my heart that if I am not ministering, I will drift away. And I kept seeing it in so many of my friends. I personally believe God uses broken vessels. And so for me, I felt at that point I was very broken. And maybe that is the time that I needed God more. So removing the praise and worship aspect for me, it made me feel like I am, like I've lost it. Like, your presence here, God. That was the only thing that I was thinking that is keeping me close to God, and it's been taken away. Then again, Pastor made me understand that, you are a public figure. We see you every day. Your ministry is on the pulpit. And so definitely there will be questions around it. So you cannot minister. We must put you on discipline for, I think it was 3 months. So you can't minister. I was heartbroken. But then I realized that these are the consequences of sin. I have to live with them. And so he told me the next thing apart from that is that I will have to make this as a public announcement. So it must be made in church. And it must also be, that is the second thing. And the third thing, we must make it to your members, like the team that you minister with. They must know about it. So he told me, but we still love you, we'll walk with you. This is a house of safety. And I remember Pastor used to speak that a lot to us, even when I was my wife, that church is a house of safety. You should not chase people away. They should feel more loved here than out there. One Sunday, I remember when we were done, my wife and I were told to come to church. And after the church was over, Pastor called us in front with my wife, and we stood there, and he told the church what had happened, that we are expectant, it's sin, but then that there is love, it's a house of safety. I will be under discipline because I'm a leader for 3 months. I will not minister. But then after the 3 months, we'll evaluate the situation, and with the leadership of the church and the leadership of the praise and worship team, and if they are satisfied that there has been change on my part and true repentance, then I might be allowed back into the ministry. My goodness, I couldn't speak that day. So I loved ministry. And for me, the fact that I think it dawned on me that there's a possibility I might not be able to minister again. And the fear for me was, I don't want to drift away. I want to be closer. Like, that walk of shame from our seats to the pulpit for me was one of the longest trips in my life. And I realized we were alone with my wife, and we stood there, and I looked kando. There was Pastor Sach and Pastor Tony and Pastor Carole. I'm not seeing those friends, and I don't judge them. But that was the fall from the vision. You're going to fall and you're going to be hit hard. And I was hit hard. It's unfortunate that now my wife was involved in this, but, So we were there, and it was a long trip, and it was painful. It was painful. I still remember it was very painful. But after that service, I remember guys came to us. I remember Mrs. Mia came to us, and And the husband had told us, be strong, guys. Be strong. You are not the first ones. There have been people before you, and you'll overcome. And at that moment, I realized, there's no temptation that is not common to man. And I think the devil will want to lie to you and tell you, this is unique. You know what, Manze? In the public gallery, you're already crucified, you're condemned, you're hanged. So you can live downcast, or you can collect yourself, pick up whatever pieces remain, walk with your God, trust in Him, and be an example to others who are heading that direction or are in that situation. So Percy told us, now, this is the thing. One of you will have to leave. Either value you leave, go back to your parents, or Joe, tafuta njia urudi ukae na wazazi wako.
So, how did you, just talk to us about, how did you go back to the same church, under the same pastor? Just talk to us about that.
So, after being told to step away from ministry, I remember in one of those meetings that we had with Pastor Sach and Pastor Pauline told us, Joe, let me ask you something. How famous do you think you are? How big do you think you are? You think you're famous? How long do you think people are going to discuss about your story? Kwani who are you? Unafikiria every Sunday watakuwa nakuja tu ni ile story yenu? They'll get tired. People get tired, by the way. If you just stick to that story, just look at the headlines in TVs. Today, a building has collapsed, 20 people have died, unfortunately. The guy has been arraigned in court. 1, 2 days, 3 days later, another breaking news. That is forgotten. So he told us, don't live in your past. So stick with your God. You have no other option. Kaa tu hapo kwa Mungu. And that really played a big role in why I didn't drift away from the faith. I still met the guys in praise and worship. We still talk. They never condemned me or anything. They just took me as a normal human being who is prone to mistakes. And I never felt condemned. The love was always there. It was genuine. You didn't feel like they treated me any less. The leader was checking up on me and on us. Different people from the praise and worship team, Judy, as in, they were always there for us, following up on us, finding how we're doing, supporting us even during the marriage. When we wanted a fundraiser to do the wedding, as in, they were always there for us. So that walk of faith, we purposed and we chose, we're going to stick closer to God. We're going to stick closer to God. And eventually, people just stopped talking about it. We always experienced love. No one was, telling us, why are you guys still coming to church? And that's what the enemy will tell you. That people will be there, as in zinazo zinakuja kanisa kufanya nini na vile sinners. That is what the enemy will be. The villagers in your mind will be telling you, hey, nakwambia mnaongelelewa huku, so what? They are not God. They are not God. They will talk. It gave me time. Even during that period, I had to be very deliberate with God. Taking my devotions and just praying and seeking God during that period. I thought I would drift further away from Him, but actually through that period, I realized I drew even more closer to Him. I realized, your time sasa yenye tuko nanga practice, then I'd find myself reading scripture, listening to sermons either online or buying a lot of CDs then, Futi DJs, Miles Munro. I had a lot of them. Probably a year after is when I went back to ministry, because I needed my own also self-healing and, just for me to come to terms with the fact that I was, this had happened. But the leader Tom is a strange guy. He kept coming and telling me, Joe, we really need you back, and just know that our doors are open. Anytime when your heart is settled, please come back and minister with us. Many youths are going through what you're going through. A lot of them are having premarital sex, and the things happen. Some of them are bought, and some of them move churches. And so my encouragement to them is that, number one, understand premarital sex is sin. It is sin. If I was to do this again, I would do it better. I wouldn't want to find myself where I was, And number two, should it happen that out of it, of course, there is pregnancy, that child is innocent. The two adults should always bear the consequences. So same thing even when it comes to church. That child is innocent. You can't kill that child. Do not terminate that pregnancy. You keep the child. But the two of you, so long as you stick with God, He will provide. And God provided. God provided for us. And we have a beautiful girl now. There's a song we used to love to sing, and I used to love to sing with my wife then, Eagle's Wings. It's a very beautiful song that the Lord will carry you on His wings. During that period, my love for God grew more. And He literally carried us in His wings. The situation would have been gone south, but it didn't. I felt His love even the more. Heaven is never silent. And so be encouraged, trust in God, walk in Him. He will give you the grace, He'll give you the strength. He will help you pull through. He will help you pull through. And do not run away from church. Stick to church, man. Stick to church. Don't give the enemy a chance. If there be anyone outside there who probably have a similar situation, reach out to us. We will talk. We'll walk with you through this situation. You're not the first one. And even before us, there were others, and they walked. And through the church, we found others who had walked this journey, and they walked with us, and that encouraged us. They opened their houses to us. We had dinner and we talked, and it really encouraged our heart that there are others who have been where we have been, and they stuck to God and to the faith, and God pulled them through. That gave us a lot of encouragement. So even if you are outside there and you're also going through the same situation, you are not the first. God will help you, and we are there. We can help you. Reach out, talk to us, talk to your leaders, talk to your pastor. It can work.
His grace is sufficient. Whoa! Thank you, Joe, for that amazing story. Let me pick it up from where he's left off with the verse from 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 9. And this is what it says. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. So we really have no excuse. It doesn't really matter how great our sin is or how public it is, because sometimes, like for Joe and Val, it was very public. But God's grace is sufficient, and God is able to take us through some really difficult curves and just help us to stand so that none of us has an excuse to walk away. And today I just want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're struggling with, do not allow your struggle to define you. Do not walk out of faith. Do not leave that church, because God is able to carry you on eagle's wings. May the Lord bless you, and may you stay encouraged. Bye.